Ginny, that was spectacular.
I wrote it about a year ago.
And I've used KDP, I've used Lulu. I've done a lot of the things you talk about there, and I learned so much about each one that I did or used.
I got a question about anthologies, and I just thought I would comment on that. I mean, I think if you want to stand out, it's better to just do your own short little book, because, then you have, you're not one of 25 people in this, and you don't have the expense of participating in it. The particular person I was asked about, I mean, I don't know exactly her performance or the people who use that particular service, but I know other people who've been in anthologies who've had bad experiences where they basically haven't had much marketing or promotion, and it hasn't really worked for them.
Well, I'm going to comment on that. I am the author of 3.038461554 books. The 0.038461554 is the one chapter out of 26 authors in one book.
Mm-hmm.
I got 50 free books for my fee to get in. And honestly, there was pride. We got a little sticker on the book that said international bestseller, because when you have 26 offers with KDP, you can put out all 26 authors are feeding their network, and it becomes a viral thing where you get a couple of million posts, and you tell people, buy this book on Tuesday for 99 cents, the ebook. And you get this international best-selling sticker. And after I learned all about that, I started being unimpressed with people that were international best-selling authors until I saw if it was Amazon or something real. But I drove zero business from it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're absolutely right. There's something about it. It feels good. You get your name out there, but it's not something that drives business in my experience.
Yeah, I mean, that was the experience of the people I spoke to. Now, it may be different for other people, and it may be different for the person who asked about it. I don't want to mention any names, but unless that person wants to mention that name.
Who asked about that?
What?
Which one of you asked about it? Fess up.
Hey, Jane,
anyway.
an example. This is an anthology book.
Oh.
Yep. So it's got the two guys' names and then my name, and then got my picture back there. So. And
how did that do for you?
It's more of a reputation builder. These two lawyers are nationally famous estate lawyers, and this book came out 20 years ago. So that was 20 years ago.
I mean, if you can use it that way, if people are impressed when you do your own promotion, then okay. But otherwise, it's basically, I think a lot of people realize that you're just part of a package, and they're just using that name. I'm doing a program now, and I won't mention the names, but they had a $31 package for my listing 2 books with them that they have a number of people in the business world. And so I've seen ads that they put out, listing my book along with other people's books. But so far, after 2 months, I have 0 sales. So I don't know. Sometimes these things work. I mean, sometimes they don't. But I think the thing is, if you have your own book, then you do your own promotion for it, or use it as a gift, or you use it to get speaking engagements because you can present yourself as an authority.
Hey, Jeannie, can I ask you a spying question? There's a CPA who's written some books which exactly the topics I want to do books on.
Yes.
If I bought it from Amazon, will he know that I bought them?
I'm not sure. I don't think Amazon gives out that information, and you could always, I guess, buy it under somebody else's name.
Because one of them's got a really bad review, and I've heard him speak. He's a really, really bad speaker. He reads his talks to you, so I know I can do better than him. So.
Yeah, but you can always, get insights, or if you think he has useful information, cite him in your own book.
Well, I'm not going to cite him.
I mean, I've done that with some of my clients, where I've collected a lot of articles for them, and then I've written their book based on adapting some of the materials or citing the people where we've gotten the information from. I mean, there are different ways of doing it depending upon what somebody wants to do. Oh, incidentally, I should comment on what the other speaker said about how many clients you get from your target audience. And I would think from this, I would get at least 2 people from here who would want to get books or other materials that I do for them.
Other questions, comments?
I have a comment, Larry. My book is on Amazon, and I get residuals, and I do not know who bought the book. And there's no way.
Okay.
I have 3 on there, and I have no idea unless somebody does a verified review. That just means Amazon's verified they bought the book before they did the review, and now you can see that.
Yeah, no, I've never gotten that either. And I have about 150 books on Amazon, and so and they don't even tell me. I mean, I just get a statement that doesn't even say what book has done what.
150 books. How many of you have anywhere near that? I didn't think so.
I've easily read that many.
I haven't done
I don't
that
know.
either.
I mean, well, this is over about a 40-year period, so.
It's still a lot.
Over the pandemic has been a time for a lot of creativity. So I have over a dozen new books. And I now have an agent who has a deal with Amazon. And so they're doing 3 of my books, and they're doing a lot of promotion for them.
Well, just so that people know, a book can give you credibility. And I have a story that real authors hate. But I'll tell it to all of you in case you're a real author, don't hate me. I had a salesman that wanted to be a speaker come up to me one day and said, I can understand it. I'm the world's best salesman and I can't get a speaking gig. I try and I get nothing. And well, how do people know you're the best? He said, well, I tell them that. Not good enough. You need a book. Well, I can't write a book. I don't have time. Do you have an hour? He said, well, yeah, let's try. We published his book in 50 minutes on Lulu. And basically we downloaded a cover, downloaded the Word document template, used their cover designer to build a cover, uploaded a great picture of him like he was presenting that we took right then, uploaded that picture, gave it a title that made him sound like the world's greatest salesman, and inside, page 1 said, if you really want to know, Google the damn thing. Use the next 63 pages to take notes. And he had this empty book, 1 page, and the point was, event planners are not buying every book that they see a link for and reading it. You put a link in your request to speak, they click on it, they see you have a book, and they go, oh wow, this is awesome. They're on to the next person or the next application. But now they have it in your head. You're an expert. You have that credibility.
So was the book about nothing? Like Seinfeld?
An empty book. It was an empty book.
I
Okay,
have
so
some
it was a
comments
book about
about doing that kind of a book. I have one book called 100 Ways to Gain More Success. But what that is alternating empty pages with tips, and then for people to write their comments about it. Now, if you have an empty book, if you have more than 1 page that's blank, Amazon will not print that, or KDP won't. So maybe you could do that as a PDF, but you could not get that published on KDP if it's just 1 page and then 55 pages. They won't publish that.
We went to Lulu.
What?
We went to Lulu.
Oh, well, then that's a different situation.
Did he get speaking
when you
engagements
go
out
to
of
a
it?
printer, you have to, normally you have to do a run of a minimum number of books to make it make sense to publish it. And the cost will be less going to a printer when you go to that run than doing KDP. Like typically my books are about $2 to $3 for my printing costs with KDP. If I went to a publisher and I had a run of about 500 books, they might be $1 a book. But then you have to put up the money up front for that number of books that you publish.
Well, the nice thing about going to KDP, you don't have to put up a penny if you self-publish.
No, you don't. But if you get an ISBN, I mean, it's preferable right now because you are listed as an independent publisher. If you get their free ISBN. But if you want to be recognized as a publisher, is to bring over an ISBN from my identifiers, which is associated with Bowker.
Do you know how much that costs?
Well, it depends. I mean, like I buy 100 at a time, so I pay about $480 for them. So it works out to about $4 each. But if you buy just one, it's $125. If you buy three, it's $275. Now, if you join Independent Publishers Association, you get a 15% discount. So it's a little bit less if you're a member of them, and it costs about $125 to join them. And you get a discount if you're a member of BAPA, which is the Bay Area group. So you pay maybe $99 or $119, and you save some money there. So, I mean, it just depends on how many books you want to publish. But I would recommend doing 3 at least, because then you can do a different format. You can have a hardcover book, a paperback book. Now, if you have a paperback book, you can use that for both Ingram Spark and for KDP because it's the format of the book. And then an ebook would be another one. And you don't normally need a ISBN for ebooks on Kindle or draft to digital, but you do if you go to Ingram Spark. But I don't recommend ebooks on Ingram Spark because if you go to these other ones, they will cover the same territory.
Amy, I have a question. How important is it to get someone to write a foreword to your book or a prologue or something like that?
Well, if it's a famous person, it could certainly help.
Someone known in the industry or someone like that.
Well, somebody who's going to be recognized by your target market. I mean, if it's just somebody who's an expert in the industry but nobody knows about them, it's probably not going to make much difference. But if you know somebody, sure, ask them to do that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Oprah Winfrey to,
Well,
Mark Cuban's a good one too.
There you go.
Because you're a facial advisor, right, Larry?
Yeah, it's right, facial.
You're a facial advisor.
Now, one thing too,
I got that
in
fixed.
terms of you don't have time to write the book or the experience, because when you speaking is very different than writing, and normally I don't recommend just taking your transcript and just putting it into the book. You really need to edit it. Just figure that it's different. So what I've been doing is I've been going to rev.com or recommending my clients go there. Then I work from the transcripts and I adapt that. Another thing that's important is if you have an outline. Otherwise, if you ramble all over the place, it's hard to edit and organize it for the book. So I suggest doing an outline first. And so sometimes with clients, I've interviewed them because they feel more comfortable talking to somebody. In other cases, they've just spoken into a recorder themselves.
Early in the talk, one thing was mentioned about repurposing other material into books and making minor changes to books to sell more. One of the things I did over a 2-year period, I was doing software training, Tableau software. And I had a PDF that was just my handout at classrooms. And over a 2-year period, I started looking at it and realizing that's a book.
Of course.
It took me an afternoon to put it together as a KDP book. And because I was doing work for the American Accounting Association, I published it as Tableau Analytics in the Accounting Classroom. And about 2 weeks later, someone said, well, will this work for other classrooms? And I looked and there was nothing about accounting in it. It was just targeted. So I changed the title to Tableau Analytics in Any Classroom, put a little different cover on it, different ISBN, and changed the word accounting professor to any professor all through the book, search and replace. And within an hour and a half, had another book out.
Yeah, no, it's very easy. I mean, you just change the cover and the title. And I mean, it has to be sufficiently different because sometimes they'll catch something. Like I've done a few books where I've done some updates and they said it was too close. And, because they read it, they sort of check that. I guess they have software that does that. So what you need to do then is unpublish the earlier book. And like if you update a book, for example, I have a book of where I added some gospel songs to the beginning of the book, but the rest of the book was the same, and they flagged that. And so I don't know, for some reason, I was able to republish the paperback book, but not the Kindle book. I had to take the Kindle book and unpublish it.
That's interesting because mine, I swear, the only difference was accounting professor changed to any professor.
Yeah.
And
Well,
a
maybe
different
they
title,
also,
and they didn't
you know,
do
I mean,
it.
maybe they have more sophisticated ways of determining this now. I don't know. That was just my experience with them. But as long as you have 24 pages or more, they will publish the book. Another thing I might suggest too is, after you publish the book, in terms of promoting the book, is to do this little video, like what I call a Sizzle Reel, which is like a book trailer. I mean, I use it for scripts, but it's like a little 2-minute thing with you. I use stock photos or I use stock videos, and to illustrate the book in a short way, and then you can get people for free to look at this, put it on YouTube, and then you put it in links, like if you're doing a press release or you're doing query letters to people or emails, and you have a link to that, and then you interest them enough that they want to buy the whole book, or they want to hire you to be a consultant or speech, or whatever it is you're promoting. And I've done a number of them now. I've set up a new company, which is called mypromeo.com, mypromeo.com, and we have things what I call bookios or filmios, or I sort of a coins. So it's actually a company I'm selling because I want to get a whole team of video editors to do what I'm doing. But anyway, I've done about 24 of these now, and some of the more recent ones I use stock footage with videos. So and people could do this themselves, or they can hire me to do it, and it takes about a day for me to do one. I can send you some links for some of these that I've done if you want.
I'm going to include links to what I've seen as far as the songs you have out, the music videos, the books and stuff, all your links.
Yeah, if they go to publishing, Changemakers Publishing, it's like a mixture of things. I'm probably going to set up separate channels on YouTube for different things. Right now it's a mixture of videos, it's a mixture of songs, it's a mixture of things for clients, but I want to start separating these things out.
It was interesting you mentioned the Sizzle Reel to sell the book. I have a document coming out this week that I was just finalizing early this morning for the Academy on Sizzle Reel to help you sell your speaking, consulting, coaching. I never thought of the book aspect of it.
Yeah. Well, I also have a book coming out, Turn Your Book into Films. And one of the chapters is about doing sizzle reels. And so I've started to do vlogs. One of these social media consultants recommended that I start doing weekly vlogs. So I'm taking this one chapter on sizzle reels out and dividing it up into a series of blogs. This is one of the books that this agent is publishing through Amazon. And so it's just one chapter in it, but it's all focused on sizzle reels. And so I think I can adapt that to be for people who are doing books for other purposes other than just turning the book into a film.
I'm going to send you a copy of my one-page document on that, just for your comments, if I may.
Okay, sure.
Other questions, comments?
I have another question for Jeannie about the legal questions. So do these self-publishing companies, these publishing companies take care of the copywriting for you, and you don't need to deal with that, or they deal with it, or?
I think it depends on the company. Some of them don't, and if so, you just go to the government site, copyright.gov, I think is the email for that. And then they have a program that works you through that. It's all pretty much all online now. And so as you go through it, then they will send you to a place where you pay. I believe it's $55 now if you do it yourself. And then, you don't get the actual copy for about 3 or 4 months, but you can consider it registered. And I find the copyrights are only really important with films. With books, I mean, most people aren't going to be stealing your book. They want you up front. And I mean, if I tried to copyright all my books, I mean, it would be, like $5,000. It's not worth it. Most people aren't going to steal it. And what copyright does, it really gives you an authority to sue somebody and get money that way. But in day-to-day practice, it's not really useful. At least that's my experience. But films is different, and films, people are much more likely to have problems with that. They want the companies to consider your film project. They want you to have a copyright. They want to protect themselves. I mean, there's just so much more money in films that they deal with that. Where books, the average self-published book sells about 150 copies. So, they're not too worried about copyright infringement. And also, some of the services that I've done, I wrote a book about internet piracy. Some of the pirates that do this, they're in other countries. So, I mean, it just doesn't pay to sue them. So what I've done is just send takedown notices to the companies hosting them if they're in the United States, and they've taken them down. Some of these companies that are selling other people's books, they're just sort of these little scam operations. So that's the best way to deal with it. Otherwise, you just ignore them, because I mean, it would take you, instead of writing books, you'd be just suing all these people.
Any other comments or questions for Jenny? No?
Yeah, that was
All right.
a great presentation.
Thank you. Well, I hope somebody here will want to do a book or sizzle reel or other material.